Hey folks, Green Stuff Gav here. We're back with another unboxing of Hatchet Partworks Combat Patrol magazine. For anyone who's not seen, Combat Patrol is a magazine done by Hatchet Partworks where once a week they release an issue with a load of miniatures from Games Workshop on. It's really good for learning the rules of 40k. Combat Patrol are set forces, so smaller scale, which is why we get so many different issues. I buy these myself, so I don't get any kickback for them. They can be quite difficult to find, so be sure to ask your local supermarket. They're often tucked away because scalpers are going to be scalped. Now we got 75. 76, 77, is that 78? 78. Interestingly, they're not very consistent with the packaging there. But let's have a look and see what we've got. So, issue 75, we have got the start of the guns. So, the field ordnance battery. Big old artillery pieces done as part of the Cadian box. So it's really interesting to see. These are multi-part kits because obviously if you buy the kit from Games Workshop you get different options. Combat Patrol will only have us build it one way. But because these are multi-part sets, you still get the options. So theoretically, you could build it as instructed and then have some spare bits. And we got the lovely guard crew. So is that 2 torsos? So it looks like that might be 3 guardsmen, 4 guardsmen. The way they split these sprues is a bit weird. So I seem to think you get 3 sprues in the box, so the next issue will be the last bit of the gun. Yeah, cool. So, how to build. Again, so the instructions here are only for how to build it one way. I like that it moves about, so it's got, you don't glue these bits down. We've got options for crewmen. That's cool. Opening the chest. I'm wondering if you get enough bits to do spare crew. So we had some paint recently, so we're going back and adding the paint to the models that we've already done. Story time, and this. So this is something she did. Hatchet Partworks didn't have to do, but they got like a naming convention for the artillery pieces. Thunder and Charlie, Big Brenda, and Little Annie. So that's nice. They don't have to do that, but someone took the time to write it. And again, this is the Combat Patrol stats, so I don't know how this tallies up with the Guard in 10th, because I don't really play 10th. And yeah. There's plenty of room on these sheets. I'd have liked them to have said what they're armed with. How many? Because we got a rocket launcher and a blast gun, a las gun and a las pistol. Is that 2 las guns, 2 las pistols? Who knows? Campaign, so linked games, which is really nice. You can see next issue we get the rest of the gun. 77 we get the heavy weapon squad. But in this issue as well, this is nice. I like these. So we've got some terrain markers, cardboard terrain. Very fitting for LVO. But we've also got the combat cards. So these are just the stat cards, but in a really nice, easy to find, easy reference sheet. So that's nice. I like that. Again, something they didn't have to do, but they have done. So that's good. And we've got like all of the orders and optional upgrades and stuff, all the 40k garbage, stratagems. No one cares. But interestingly, some corn World Eater stuff. So I suspect we're getting World Eaters next. More World Eater cards and the rest of the guards. So we've got Atalan jackals. That's some Gene Stealer Cult, Armored Sentinel, Ordnance Battery, and Heavy Weapons Squad. Nice. Again, they didn't have to include those, but they did, and I appreciate it. I'm all for making life easy. And being able to see stats on a card makes it better. Very tough plastic, this one. So, 2 bases, a magazine, and the other sprue. So that looks the same as the previous one. It is the same. So the weapons are the same. You could theoretically do 2 las cannons, 2 rocket pods. So that is the rocket pod bits. But it's this sprue that gives you the housing. So 2, 3, 4. So yeah, it is only 4 crew, no spare crew. Might be spare legs though. And yeah, honking dirt massive bases. 2 of. So the rest of the ordnance battery. So I like this. This is something that they explain. You build them in sub-assemblies so you can paint them and then stick them together once they're painted. So step by step, how to paint your guns. Again, these are really simple techniques, really straightforward, nice classy paint jobs. They look good on the table as an army and it's achievable. Like we see all of these airbrushing and we see all of these heavy metal standard and professional paint jobs, but this is something I could achieve, which is nice. I can relate to it. Heroes, some characters. Gene Stealer Cult versus the guard. And new scenario. So these are all these scenarios now are sort of designed about showing how your army works. So sustained hits, this is how sustained hits works. This is how indirect fire works. Really nice. Again, step by step, quite straightforward, but tells us what we need to know. 77. So again, 3 heavy weapons in 1 sprue. So if you can get issue 77 for a tenner, that's a bargain. Because these are $9.99 an issue, which I don't know what the price of 2 field artillery is, but I'm sure it's more than 20 quid. Bases, plastic, magazine and sprues. So again, we can see we've got autocannons, las cannons, heavy bolters, mortars, rocket launchers. You got all the weapons options on this sprue, which is nice. There's not masses of like crew options, although there is a fair few heads. But I just like that you get all the firing options, so you can build them how you like. Obviously, Combat Patrol will have us do them all one way. Heavy weapons team bases, 50 mil. So Combat Patrol will have them all built as heavy bolters, or one of each by the looks of it. But you can build them all how you like. So how to make sure the guys line up, that's nice. These are step by step and they're designed for intros to wargaming, so they're not, so you know, anything that's unusual, it'll explain it a bit more than standard. And again, sub-assemblies, paint the crew separate to the guns. From black undercoat, base coat colours. using ink washes. That's nice. As noted, I like, you know, very achievable, very straightforward paint jobs. Death World, Catchins, Story Time, and Heavy Weapons. So again, a bit of history to each squad. So that's nice. A little bit of, you can give them a name because there was a chart back in the start, and then build them, paint and play them. A data sheet, which we've seen. Yeah. Ah. So these guys aren't standard. You can remove the Cajun squad and add in the heavy weapons team instead. So instead of 10 guardsmen, you can have 3 heavy weapons. All armed with autocannon. Interesting. So the picture said heavy bolters, combat patrols has just autocannon. I presume that's a... I didn't really pay attention to the building instructions. Yeah, they built them as autocannon. There you go. But you still get the other options if you wished. Another how to use them against Chaos Marines or Voltan. So we see 78's got some Atalan jackals, really lovely models. We'll see them in a minute. And then the Sentinel comes in 2. That's going to be interesting. But finally, for this month, we've got the jackals. So magazine, faces, big base for the quad, and the jackal sprue. And again, this is a full kit from Games Workshop, so it's like a 35 quid kit or whatever it is. So you've got the quad bike. Could, I believe, just snap that off, and that's a quad bike sprue. Oh no, because you've got the front of the actual motorbikes there. Loads of weapons options, loads of arm options. Again, I like that because this is a full kit, so the idea being that you could buy multiples and assemble them all differently. That's really cool. Auto pistol. I suspect, though, you can't have 2 hands on the handlebars, which is a shame. But I understand why they do it. There's only so much room on the sprues. Variety of different heads. Really cool wrench. Yeah, it's cool. I like it. It's nice. Nice kit. So, Atalan jackals. How to build them. Yeah. So, when you're gluing, hold these bits. And again, loads of make it real easy. Really follow through. And how to build the quad bike. Like that. That's very Voltan-esque. How to paint them. Again, these are all paints that we've had. We haven't had a new brush in a long time, but never mind. And how we should have them look. That's cool. Really cool kit. Like little scramblers. And again, background. This isn't a standard unit for the combat patrol. They've added this unit in. Remove 1 Acolyte hybrid unit and replace them with the Atalan jackals. So the wolf quad comes with a mining laser and the rest of them come with small arms. So arm however you like. Yeah, they don't need to. I presume it's all been balanced, but it's all about expanding your army. Like, they'll fit very well in a 40k army. So yeah, fighting the guard. And next month we'll get 2 issues of the Sentinel. This can be a pain because if you miss an issue, you only get bits of it. So that's going to be a really difficult one to find. But I certainly recommend asking your local newsagents, your local superstore. I mean, Hatchet Partworks does theoretically sell them separately, but they've never got any stock on their website. But yeah, some good value here. So two issues for the artillery pieces, but then one for the heavy weapons and one for the jackals, I think is remarkable value. But yeah, so that's a quick little look through. Be sure to do the YouTube things. I've been getting dislikes. I don't know why, but someone isn't happy. So yeah, I'd appreciate any likes. But most of all, thanks for watching and have fun.